everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm pretty excited today because I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts on the brand new Lunar Beauty Life's Drag color palette. Got Rosie here keeping me company. Say hi! 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 This is going to be a long video so we don't have time for babies. This palette was released on June 2nd. I ordered it on June 2nd. I received a shipping confirmation on June 5th, and I received my palette on June 8th. To me, that's pretty darn prompt. I mean, it was really nice to get the shipping confirmation, and then I was able to track it from there to see where it was, and when it arrived on the 8th, I could see that it was coming, and I was ready for it, and it was cool. It comes in a black box. The outside is completely blank. The inside says Lunar Beauty. When you open it up, it comes with the campaign card with the picture of Manny and 3 other influencers. It comes with really beautiful tissue paper that has the Lunar Beauty logo on it that's like an L and a B. The box that the palette comes in is gold and pink. And it comes wrapped in bubble wrap. It was wrapped really nicely. Obviously nothing was broken or anything like that. So everything on that front went very smoothly. Ordering it was very easy. This is a brand new brand. If you didn't know, this is Manny MUA, who is a YouTuber here. This is his brand, and this is the first product from his brand. I don't know, I just felt like it was relevant to talk about the shipping stuff a little bit. This palette retails for $45, and let's jump into the palette. So here it is. It comes with a mirror. It says Be a Queen on the mirror, and it has that pretty design with a crown on the top. It comes with 14 eyeshadows. It also comes with this double-ended brush that says Lunar Beauty on it. I do think that I use this brush in one of the looks that I do. I'm going to be showing you 3 different looks at the end of this video, and I do think I use this for one of them. I didn't love it and I didn't hate it. It was just a brush that I think can be used for real basic things, just not for real detail work. But it's cute. It's got like pink, rose pink metal on it, and it says Lunar Beauty, and it's a cute brush. It's nice to have a brush in a palette. This palette is quite large. I'm going to show you clips of me comparing this palette to the Dominique Cosmetics Latte palette, which is also large. This one is bigger than that one. And then I'm going to show you a clip of me comparing this to the Lorac Pro palette, which is standard size for an eyeshadow palette, similar to like the Urban Decay Naked palettes. This one is quite a lot bigger than those. So this palette has 14 shades. As you can see right off the bat, we have 6 bright colorful shades. We have 4 neutral browns. We have 2 shimmer metallic shades. And then we have a matte black and a matte white. The first shade is Kiki. This is I want to say this is like a teal, but I never know with these blue-green shades. Is it teal? Is it turquoise? It's not mint. Or is it? It's this color. It's kind of in between blue and green, and it's light. It's completely matte. This one is more of a sheer finish, I've noticed. You can build it up a little bit, but it doesn't build up quite the same as some of the other shadows. So this one is called Kiki. Then we have the shade Fishy, which is actually not a matte shade, although it performs very similar to a matte. It has a satin finish, and Manny did talk about this one. Just in order to make it perform the way he wanted it to, he had to give it a bit of a satin finish, so it has a bit of a sheen, but it doesn't perform like a shimmer or a metallic. It really performs like a creamy matte. We have Pageant Queen. This is your true purple. Again, a very matte shade, very pretty, very mid-tone purple. Then we have the shade Snatched. It's definitely still a very bright, vibrant color. It's just a little bit on the darker side. So I would call this like a burgundy. The next shade we have is called Campy. This is the delicious, vibrant yellow, bright yellow, sunshine yellow, I would say. It's not a light yellow, it's like a rich yellow. It's hard to explain, but you can see it. It's really, really pretty. And then we have the shade Kai Kai that is your hot, hot pink. Moving over to the neutrals, so really all of these are really pretty mid-tone browns. Sickening is more of a warmer toned brown that I find works really well as a base shade for my eyeshadow, and Hunty is more of a cooler toned brown that would work for shadow work and in the crease and that kind of thing. Then we have Trade, which is a reddish darker brown, and Mug, which is sort of your true dark brown. But the nice thing about these darker browns is that they're not so dark that you can buff them out and use them to make a really pretty neutral look. I think you could get some very, very pretty neutral, wearable, everyday looks with the neutrals in this palette. I didn't do that this time because I just didn't want to, but I think you definitely could, which is really cool. And I also think that the dark shades are going to be nice for if you wanted to get like a pop of color or like a pop of smoky eye, like a pink smoky eye or a purple smoky eye. These browns will mix in with those colors very well. Two shimmers we have are called Beat and Legendary. Beat has sort of a salmony pink sheen to it, but as you'll see, it takes on the color of whatever you're mixing it with. So I have Beat all over my lid today, and I don't think that you can see any of that pink salmon colored sheen. It really took on the blues from the rest of my eyeshadow, which I think is really, really cool. I was kind of hesitant to use the shimmers at first because I didn't know how I would work those colors in, but it's just something about them, they take on colors, so it's really cool. And then Legendary is this true gold, which I've used more on the inner corner than anything, but it's a really beautiful true gold color, and they're both like super foiled metallic, very, very pretty. And I did foil Beat on my lid today with a setting spray, as you will see. Then we have the black and white. So Cake Face is the name of the white shade. Shady is the matte black shade, a really pretty black shade. You will see me working with this shade for this look. I really like both of these because they can be built up to be intense, but they also can be buffed out to be really sheer or to blend in with other colors. So again, like you'll see, I mix the white in with Sickening quite a lot to do my base, setting my primer and stuff like that. I also have mixed the white with like the Kai Kai, the pink shade. You can get such a nice gradient. I think the black and white is a really, really nice addition to this palette. I just wanted to go over the colors really quickly so you guys could see some up-close swatches and a brief description of them. I am going to go in and show you 3 looks now. And I'm not quite sure how I'm going to edit the looks, to be honest with you guys. I filmed the first look thinking that I was only going to do 1 look, so I did a lot of talking through it. I talked through all of the looks, but after I filmed that look, I decided that I wanted to do 3 looks because I just couldn't help myself. It's such an amazing palette. I could probably do like 25 looks and they'd all be different. It's just so inspiring to me. That's what I'm trying to say. It's very inspiring. So I'm going to be showing you guys 3 looks, and I hope you enjoy this. So I'm setting my lid by mixing the shade Cake Face and Sickening. Cake Face is the white shade, Sickening is the more mid-toned brown. I'm mixing those 2 together to get a base shade. I found that Sickening was a little bit too dark for what I wanted, so mixing that white in was absolutely perfect. They blended together really well, and I was able to add more of one if I needed to, and I feel like they just mixed together very, very well. I am going to be doing a voiceover for the first 2 looks because I forgot and left my fan on while I was filming, and it's blowing air like directly into the microphone of my camera and it sounds terrible, so I don't want to put you guys through that, so that's why I'm doing a voiceover here. Now I'm taking the shade Campy, the bright yellow, and putting that on the upper part of my crease. And this shade is so beautiful, it's delicious and vibrant. It's pretty much what I expected. It is not extremely opaque at first application, but it's very vibrant and you can blend it out and buff it out like I'm doing here to kind of create a gradient, and you'll see later that I add it on my inner corner, and when you pack it on, it really does carry a lot more yellow pigment. It's just such a pretty shade and it blended out so nicely. Now I'm taking the shade Snatched, which is that burgundy maroon shade, and mixing that in with Campy. I do feel like Snatched looks a little bit patchy, and I think that's part and due to my eye shape. A lot of times eyeshadows look patchy on me in that area, but I feel like I fix it after a while. Now I'm going in with the shade Kai Kai, the beautiful hot pink. I'm using a fluffy brush, but I'm actually packing it all over my lid, and when you use this packing motion, you get a lot more pigmentation, which is really cool. So you get a variety of pigmentations depending on what brush you use and how you apply the shadow. So you can buff it out to be more sheer like I did on the upper part of my eye, or you can pack it on here like I'm doing here to get more of an intense opaque look. Now I'm just packing Cake Face on the inner corner of my lid. I wanted to see how bright I could make this white, and I was really impressed with how bright it looks, and it mixed in with the pink really well to get an awesome gradient. I was just really impressed with how the white performed here. Here I'm taking the shade Snatched and buffing it on the outer corner to add some depth. I thought that looked really pretty mixed with Kai Kai. It really brought out the pink magenta tones in it, and they just blended together beautifully. Now I'm just pulling that color down towards my lower lash line. I don't think I added any extra product on the brush. I'm just kind of blending it down to see how it looks and to see how I like it. Now I'm taking a little bit of Shady on my lower lash line, and then I'm going to buff it out with a fluffy brush I wanted to see how the black performed, and I wanted to add a little bit of darkness and depth in that area. Now I'm just lining my eyes, my waterline, with my Lorac black eyeliner. Then I am placing the shade Cake Face on the lower inner corner of my eye because I wanted to see how that works as a base. And then I'm going to go in with the shade Campy and apply that over the white, and you can see how fantastic that pops over the white shadow. That white shadow works as such a good base for the colors. It was really, really cool. Then I'm just applying a little bit of the yellow on my brow bone, going back in and adding Beat, the shimmer, on the inner corner just for a little bit of glow. And then after I blended that Beat into the inner corner, I did go ahead and add a little bit of Legendary as well, just below that, just to see a little bit of that gold as well. And there is the finished look. I really love how it came out. I love all of the different colors, how you can see all of the different colors, how the red and yellow mix to make a little bit of orange. I just think the whole look turned out very nice. Alright, let's move on to look number 2. The second look, I'm starting off mixing Cake Face and Hunty, the cooler toned brown, together, and I am using the brush that came in the Lunar Beauty palette. So this is the double-ended brush, and I'm using the fluffier tapered side. I'm not crazy about the brush. It got the job done, but it wasn't a brush that I would prefer to use. I think it'll be good for basic things, but it's not what I'm going to reach for outside of this palette or anything. And then I'm buffing in Kai Kai, the hot pink, on my upper crease here. I'm buffing that out. I like mixing that with Hunty because Hunty does pull a little bit pink on my skin tone. Then I'm taking Pageant Queen on the outer corner here and buffing that into Kai Kai, just really blending those shades together, and then blending that one a little bit on my inner lid there. Then I'm adding more of the Cake Face on my brow bone just to bring out the white and to highlight the brow bone a little bit. That white really does show up so well. Now I'm applying the shade Kiki on the inner corner of my lid and drawing that out across the lid. This is a sheer shade like I mentioned earlier, so it does take a bit of work, but once you get it built up, it does show up and it is very pretty. It just takes a little bit of extra work. It's also one of the most dry shades in the palette. I would say Kiki and Campy are the two most dry shades. They're still very pretty and very workable. I just noticed that they tend to feel a little bit more dry than the others. Now I'm using the shade Fishy to connect Kiki and Pageant Queen. So I'm just kind of putting it on the lid in between the two, blending it into Pageant Queen and into Kiki. So we have that pretty gradient going on there. Now I'm applying a little bit more of Pageant Queen on the outer corner there to add some more of that purple and bring that out on the outer corner. I think these all blended so well. I just can't say it enough. I was really impressed with how the colors all showed up and how they worked together. One thing I do want to mention with these mattes, especially the lighter ones, particularly Fishy, which is actually a satin, not a matte, but I feel like the best way to get them built up is not to try to pack a lot on at once. It's to start with a very thin layer, then add a second thin layer, and keep doing that until you get the opacity that you're looking for, which does mean that they take a little bit more work, but I think that's just the best way to get the color payoff that you want. On the inner corner, I'm adding Beat, and I really think it's cool how, again, this shade, it doesn't look pink, even though it looks pink in the pan. It looks more of like just a pearl shimmer on the inner corner. It's a really pretty inner corner highlight. Now for the lower lash line, I'm just drawing the Pageant Queen shade down just a little bit to kind of draw everything together and keep it connected, not putting a ton of color or a ton of work into the lower lash line, just because I didn't think it needed it. I think the upper lid is really the standout of this look. I am lining my waterline with my Lorac black eyeliner again. And there's the completed look. Another really pretty, very different from the first look, and I'm digging it. It's giving me kind of mermaid sunset vibes. First look, I didn't do any glam shots, just kind of forgot, but I think you can see it pretty well here. So let's go on to the last look. I noticed in both of the looks that I did previous to this that I had a little bit of like patchiness, you could say, and I don't know if that is due to my own fault, my skill, my brushes, or if that's the palette. It really wasn't bad, and it wasn't something that would keep me from using the palette, but I did notice that after maybe like an hour or so of wear that they started to look a little bit patchy, and just a little bit, not like super patchy, but like just wearing away, especially around my crease and stuff. So I know I definitely want to do something with the black and the shimmer shades today. So that's what I'm going to focus on. But I'm not going to start with black because I'm just not quite that brave. I think I'm going to start with what I've been doing and mix Cake Face and Sickening all over the lid, just as like a base shade. And as I'm doing this, I just did want to update you guys that the staining that I experienced yesterday is completely gone today. At least from what I can see, it's completely gone today. I did just remove my eye makeup with my Boscia Makeup Breakup Cool Cleansing Oil yesterday at night, and this morning I didn't notice any staining or anything, so that's good. I think maybe there's a chance that with especially that pink, the shade Kai Kai and possibly Snatch, that you'll get a little like, I don't know, call it like residue, but it didn't last overnight, so that's a good thing. I'm gonna go in with Hunty and brush that on my crease. And it's finally cooled off today. I have my windows open, so if you hear the birds, they are outside and they are talking. Alright, I'm just gonna start in with the black. It's called Shady. I'm kind of nervous, but I really want to see how this black performs. So let's just do this. Alright, so there's the beginning swatch. So it's not the most opaque at first, which is good. That means hopefully that it will blend with other things well. But I want to see how it will build also. That's really pretty. That's a really pretty black. It's not like a jet black. It's almost like a grayish black, but I think I could probably build it up to be darker. I do like how this looks right now. Okay, I'm gonna move over to the other eye, and I just thought of something that I wanted to mention. I decided to do my eye makeup today before my foundation because yesterday I noticed after I turned my camera off that I had a bunch of fallout on my face. I don't know how I didn't notice that when I was filming, but I was so focused on my eye makeup. Particularly the shade Pageant Queen had a ton of fallout. Now I'm going to take some of this shade Fishy and blend that in with the black and see where we go. I'm just going to go back in with the black and add a little bit more on the outer part here and just see how dark I can make it. Probably go in with concealer and or foundation later and clean this up. Now I'm just trying to buff out the edges here. See what I can do because I decided that I don't like it looking so sharp. Okay, I do like that blown out, blended up a little bit better. Okay, now I'm going to take the shade Beat. I'm going to spray my brush with Smashbox Primer Water. And I'm pretty much putting this all over the blue, hoping that it'll bring that blue out a little bit. So I'm really digging this look so far. So there is this eye done. I don't see a ton of the blue showing through, but it also doesn't look anything like the shade Beat looks in the pan, which is right here. I don't think it looks anything like that, which is kind of cool. So I'm going to do the other eye. And I wanted to show you guys, so this is it without any primer spray, any of that Smashbox Primer Water. I didn't spray my brush this time, and it looks a lot more like the color in the pan. So I'm thinking that when you spray it is when it kind of loses that pink and gets more, almost takes on whatever color you're putting it over. I'm putting a little bit of Fishy right here. There, I like that little bit of color there, that's cool. It almost kind of looks like the color is haloing the shimmer. I'm just gonna go in with Cake Face. Yeah, I like that. So I'm sure you can see I do have quite a bit of fallout under my eyes, particularly from the black, but a little bit from the blue too, right here. Just a little bit though. It's not as bad as like some, it's not as bad as some, but I think with a black shade like that, and as much as I put on, I would expect to get a little bit of fallout. Anytime I do like a super intense look like this, you can expect a little bit of fallout. Okay, I am going to finish up the rest of my makeup and I will be right back. Okay, so my makeup is done. I am wearing a bunch of ColourPop on my face. I'm testing out their new No Filter foundation. If that video is not up, it will be up soon. I think that it's probably not up yet because I'm just finishing up this review and that will come next. Alright, so some final thoughts I have. I really like this palette. I'm very impressed with this palette. I was drawn to it because of the mix of colors and neutrals, and I was drawn to it because I wanted to see how the colors mix together. And they mix together beautifully. What I wanted to do with this palette is exactly what I'm finding myself able to do. The three looks that I created, I was able to blend the colors together to just make really pretty, unique combinations. And yet they also stood out on their own enough, like when I put the yellow on my lower inner corner and it just stood out and popped. I think there's something really special about these shadows and this palette. I can see myself, and I can also see other influencers reaching for this palette consistently in the future, not just talking about it now. Like, I don't know, obviously, maybe they will. Maybe they will never reach for it again. But I can see this being one of those palettes that it's like, okay, I need a really good black. It's going to be my Life's Drag palette. I need a really good hot pink. I need a really good colorful palette or neutrals, whatever. You know, I feel like this is going to be that one. So I did feel like the mattes were a tad bit patchy. Oftentimes eyeshadow can look patchy on me just a little bit, and it doesn't really bother me just because there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not going to stop wearing makeup just because I'm not an expert at applying makeup. You know what I mean? Like, it's whatever. But I did notice a little bit of that. Another drawback was the shimmer shades. There's not that many shimmer shades. There's only 2. So if you're someone who wants a really quick, simple, like, color in the crease, color in the outer corner, shimmer on the lid, inner corner highlight, this probably isn't going to be your palette. I don't see this being something that I would recommend to someone who just does their makeup every day, quick to go to work. This is going to be a palette for someone who wants to experiment with color, who wants to experiment with creative looks, even if it's not just color, because there's enough neutrals in there too. But it's just for someone who wants to have fun and experiment. I think this is going to be a really fun, nice palette. I think Manny did a very good job with this palette. The other drawback, of course, would be that I did experience a brief period of staining on my lids, particularly with the red shades, the Kiki and Snatched. I noticed that my eyelids were a bit stained right after I removed the eyeshadow. Within about 12 hours, that staining was completely gone. I didn't get any rash or anything like that, no irritation that I noticed, so I just want to make a note of that, though I did experience some staining. I've experienced this with like purple shadows from ColourPop and stuff like that too, so it's not the first time it's happened to me, but I do want to mention it. I'm not sure of the wording, but I do believe that this isn't FDA approved to be safe for eyes because of some ingredients that may or may not stain your eyes. Jen Luvs Reviews talked about this a lot more. That's why it's called a color palette and not an eyeshadow palette. Generally, it's believed to be safe. It's just like the US standards or whatever didn't allow for him to say that it's an eyeshadow palette. It's just something that you might want to be informed of. So I'll link Jen's video in the description box if you want to watch that and maybe learn some more. Yeah, I think that's everything I have to say about this palette, you guys. I'm sure there's more things that I'll think of after I turn the camera off, and when I do, I will list those in the description box, so make sure you check that out. I will include a link to where you can buy this palette. I think it did sell out, but I'm not sure if it's back in stock or not. I'm sure it will be though, because I'm sure the palette will come back in stock if it is currently sold out, because this is a permanent edition product. I do know the palette was sold out for a period of time, but do you have something to say? I just want to tell them that the palette was sold out for a while, but I'm sure it's going to come back in stock because it's a permanent product in the line. Yay! Say hi! Say hi! I need my mama's attention now. So you guys gotta go away. Alright guys, that's everything I have to say. I would love to hear your thoughts on this palette. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I had a lot of fun and did a lot of work to create these looks, so I would really appreciate it if you give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not already. I have a ton of exciting reviews coming. I have the Alamar Cosmetics. I have Oh, the Violet Voss one, ColourPop foundation review coming very soon. I have a lot of exciting reviews coming soon. And I'm about to order the Lemonade palette. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss those. And if you have any recommendations on things you'd like to see in my review videos, like what could have made this video better, what didn't you need in this video, I would love to know that too, because I'm trying to get my video quality as high as possible. Alright guys, thanks again for watching. I really appreciate you, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye.